Hello, everybody. Today we are going to work on our student-led conference PowerPoint, and I'm going to walk you through my expectations for the English language arts slides so we can have that ready to go for conferences. So many of you have already started working on this student-led conference PowerPoint. You should have started working on it in your pause time classes, and many of you have also started working on some of the slides in your regular classes. So today we're going to work on the English language arts slides. There are a total of 3 slides that you need to finish before the end of tomorrow. And so I'm going to show you my expectations for all 3 of the English language arts slides today. As you're listening to the video, you're going to want to pause the video at certain times and go to your PowerPoint and follow the directions and then come back to the video. This isn't a video that you want to watch all the way through. So as I complete each slide, you may want to pause the video and go work on that slide. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is pull up your SLC PowerPoint. Again, this is the PowerPoint that you've been working on in your pause time classes. Hopefully you saved it to your H drive or your OneDrive or a place that you can remember. If you didn't, I'll tell you what to do about that in a minute. So you're going to pull up your SLC PowerPoint, and the first slide you're going to see is this one with the instructions for what to do. And we're going to scroll down to the English language arts slides. So you should have already filled out these beginning slides here, the introduction, your attendance, your missing assignments. After your missing assignments, you'll see English language arts. And so these are the slides that we're going to be working on today. And this is around slide 7. So you want to find the slide titled English language arts and scroll down. And you'll see that the next slide says 7th grade templates, delete this slide. This slide here is just letting you know that the following 2 slides are for 7th grade, and then slides 12 through 13 or 14 are for 8th grade. Okay, so you can absolutely go ahead and just delete this slide. You do not need it. So you can right click on this slide and scroll down to delete slide. And the next slide you'll see is this student tracking chart. And then you'll come to a slide that says what comes next. These 2 slides here are for 7th grade English. If you scroll down again, you'll see the 8th grade template. You can absolutely right click and delete this slide because we are not 8th grade. We do not need these slides here. This slide that's titled My Skills and Growth, you can absolutely delete that slide. That's for 8th grade. Self-assessment in ELA, that is for 8th grade. Delete that slide, and then delete the slide that says I am celebrating. Okay? And then you will have the slide here that says English Language Arts Essentials for slide 10. So now you should just have these 2 slides here under English Language Arts Student Tracking Chart and what comes next. Now you may be wondering, I thought you said we had to do 3 slides, and there's only 2. We do have a 3rd slide that for some reason did not end up in the PowerPoint. And I went ahead and attached that slide right next to this video on Canvas. So you will want to pull up that slide. It is called Essential Learning Goal. So you can find this slide right next to this video on Canvas. You're going to pull up the slide and you're going to click on it on the left side here of the screen so that it's outlined in red. And you're going to click Control C. That allows you to copy that slide. Then you're going to go back to the Student-Led Conferences PowerPoint, find the English Language Arts slide here. Make sure you're on this slide, the one that says English Language Arts, and then click Control V as in Victor. And paste that slide into our section. So now we have the 3 slides, Essential Learning Goal, Student Tracking Chart, and what comes next. And we need to fill out these 3 slides today and tomorrow. All right, so I'm going to show you my expectations for each slide. We're going to start with the first slide, essential learning goal. Our goal for this class, I will be able to write a CER paragraph that has a central claim that draws a conclusion from the text, relevant evidence to support my claim, and reasoning that connects the evidence back to my claim. This is our goal here. You can just absolutely leave that part. You don't have to do anything with that part. I'm just going to move it up a little bit so that I have more space to write down here. Okay, this part down here is the part that you are supposed to fill out. And you need to explain to your parents, what does it mean and why should I care? So you're going to explain to your parents 3 things. And you can erase this section down here. And you can type, what is the CER? When do I use the CER? And how do I write the CER? Okay, I really want you to explain to your parents these 3 things. The what is it, the when do you use it, and the how do you write one, okay? So you want to put these 3 questions here and then just type your answer to them. That's one way you can do it. However, I'm kind of a chart type person. I like to have charts. So for me, I'm going to actually delete this, and I'm going to go up on the left corner here where it says insert. And on the left corner, you'll see the word table. And I'm going to create a table that's 8 boxes here. You do not have to do this. You can just simply type your answer, but I like to do this because I think it looks nicer. So I'm going to make a little table here. And on the left, I'm just going to write the CER. And on the right, well, maybe on the right, I'll put the CER explained so that your parents can understand what is the CER. Okay. And then I'm just going to write the 3 questions. What is it? When do I use it? And how do I write one? Okay, so I'm going to put those 3 questions on the left here, the what, the when, and the how. And then I'm just going to answer them on the right. So for what is it, I simply want you to explain to your parents, what is a claim? Okay. It is blank. What is evidence? And what is reasoning? So I just want you to explain to your parents what are those 3 things and maybe give an example. Okay. Then for when do I use it, I simply want you to tell your parents, when do you use the CER? You use the CER format when... And then how do I write one? Here, I really want you to tell your parents, what does it look like? What's the order of the paragraph? The CER paragraph is blank sentences long. You should always start with your blank. And don't forget to have the tag. Okay, so, and then you want to move on and say the second part of your paragraph should be blank, your blank, and explain how many pieces of evidence you need to have in your paragraph and how many reasoning sections you need to have in your paragraph, and just explain to your parents how to write one. So you could just put all of this in there without the table, but I like the table in here. I think it looks nice, but you don't have to do that. All right, so once you've filled out all these 3 questions, the what, the when, and the how, you are done with slide 1. So that should take you probably a good 15 minutes to complete, maybe 10 to 15 if you make it look nice. And then we're going to go down to the next slide. This slide should look familiar to you. This is the student tracking chart slide, and this slide is relatively easy in that you're simply copying the information from your worksheet onto this slide. Now, for those of you who did not grade both of your paragraphs, your theme paragraph and your landlady paragraph. If you did not grade them, you are going to have to look at the rubric and grade them now. So that's going to take you a little bit longer to do. But you do need to have both of those paragraphs graded. If you did not do the paragraph, you're going to need to give yourself a 0. So you are going to need to take time to do that if you have not graded them already. Okay, so the first thing I would recommend doing with this slide is just dragging, so clicking on the title here and dragging it closer to the top, and same with the chart. Clicking on the chart and dragging it closer to the top so that we have more room down here for our graph. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is fill out my chart up here, my claim, evidence, and reasoning points. Now, if you'll remember, we did not do CER1. We have not done that yet. We might get to this tomorrow if there's time. So for now, just leave this here. Don't delete it. Don't erase it. Just leave it here. CER2, that was our theme paragraph. I'm going to write that up here, the theme paragraph. That was about either Gonzalo or Salvador. And then CER3, that was our paragraph about the landlady. So I'm going to write that there. So if you haven't graded both of these paragraphs, you're going to need to go back and find them again. If you cannot find them, you can log on to Canvas and open up the assignment that you turned in on Canvas. Okay, so your theme paragraph, your Salvador or Gonzalo paragraph is for CER2. So I'm going to look at my worksheet here and I'm going to write down how many points I got for claim, evidence, and reasoning. So I see here that I got 1 point for claim, I got 3 points for my evidence, and I got 2 points for my reasoning. So I'm going to go ahead, and I like to center this. So I'm actually going to go up to the home button and go right up here where it says paragraph and click on the center button so that it is centered. Okay. And then for total points, I'm going to add the points up. So 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 6. So my total score for that one was 6. Okay. And then I'm simply going to look at my landlady paragraph. And for the landlady paragraph, I got a 2 on my claim. I got a 6 for my evidence, and I got a 4 for my reasoning. And so my total score on that one was 12. So again, I'm going to highlight my boxes and go up here and center them. You do not have to do that, but I think it looks nicer that way. Okay, so I've got my chart done. I might want to make the font a little bit bigger. I think I will. So I'm going to highlight the whole chart and come up here to font, and I'm going to make it size 16 so it's a little easier to see. Okay, now here comes the tricky part. The tricky part is this graph down here. It's probably going to give you a little bit of trouble, but go ahead and just keep trying and you'll eventually get it. So we just need to simply graph our total score, our 6 and our 12, or whatever scores you had on this chart. But the problem is, if you notice on the left side here, the chart only goes up to 9. And we need the chart to go up to 16. So the first thing we want to do is make this chart a little bit bigger. So you can just do that by clicking on the chart and dragging the corners down to making the chart kind of a little bit bigger. You also want to click on the inside of the chart here, this part where the lines are, and pull this up and down to kind of spread it out. And this little part down here where it says total CER points, I'm going to just delete that. I don't think we even need that. So now if you look at it, the lines are a little bit more spread out. Try to get it as spread out as you can. I'm going to try and make it as spread out as I can. So now I have 0 through 9, and the chart is a lot more spread out. Okay, but we still have the problem of making this out of 16. This is the really tricky part. you're going to want to double click on the numbers here where it says vertical axis. You're going to want to double click on that, and you'll see on the right here, this option comes up. It says Format Axis, and we're underneath the bar graph here. Okay, if you look down here where it says Access Options, you'll see that it says the minimum is 0. That's good. We want the minimum to be 0. But if you scroll down one more, you'll see that the maximum is 9. So we need to change this. So you're going to just change this to 16. So erase the 9 and type in 16, and then simply click Reset. Okay, at first you'll notice it didn't actually change the numbers correctly. I don't know why, but for some reason, if you go back up to the left corner and click the undo button, it'll make it out of 16 for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, so now we have it out of 16, and it's still not very spread out, so I'm going to even try to spread this out a little bit more here, out of 16. Okay. Oops. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Okay. So that part's tricky, and that might take you a couple of tries. Just remember that after you change it to 16, you want to come up and click the undo button, and that resizes the numbers there. So that's why it works for some reason. Okay. So if you're really struggling with this and you cannot get this chart to look the way you want it to look, you can go back to Canvas and click on slide number 2, and you'll notice that I already fixed this one to out of 16. So if you're really struggling, you can copy and paste this slide here, the one that's already fixed for you, into the SLC PowerPoint and delete this slide. If you're really having trouble, you can do that. Okay. So now we need to graph our scores. Okay, so the way to do that is to simply click on the chart, make sure you've selected the chart, and if you come up here on the top, you'll see it says Chart Tools. Just click on Chart Tools at the very top here above the toolbar. It says Chart Tools. Click there. Whoops. And that will bring you to the Chart Tools. So to graph your scores, you want to come up to the right-hand corner here, and you will see a button that says Edit Data. So go ahead and click that button and just click on Edit Data. And a Excel spreadsheet will pop up. It's this little green box here, okay? And this is very easy now. All you do is you type in your total score for CER 1, 2, and 3. So for CER 1, we didn't do it, so I'm just going to type in 0 for now. I might go change that later, we'll see. For CER 2, I'm going to type in 6 because my total score for CER 2 was 6. And then for CER 3, I'm going to type in 12 because my total score for CER 3 was 12. That's all you have to do. Once you've typed in your total score, you're just going to click the X. Oh, what happened? Oh, for some reason it took me to a different page. Okay, so after I exit out of that, you'll see that it graphed on a line here my scores. So you can see my scores went from 0, from nothing, to 6 to 12. So it shows my growth here, my improvement on the CER paragraph. Now, I actually don't particularly like that it's a line graph, so you can actually change that. So if you make sure you've clicked on Chart Tools at the top here, and if you go over to the very right, you'll see an option that says Change Chart Type. You can, if you want to, you don't have to, but you can click on that and change the style of your chart. So right now it's a line graph, but you could make it a column graph, kind of like the one we made in class, or you could make it a bar graph, Or an area graph is kind of cool, where it shades in all the work that you did there. Not all the graphs will work. Okay, so you're gonna have to pick one that actually makes sense. I would pick one of those four. Area graph, bar graph, line graph, or column graph are kind of the main ones that will work. A pie graph does not make sense for this type of data. So I'm going to do the column graph because I like that one the best. So I'm going to click on column and I'm going to click OK. And it'll change my graph to a column graph. And then the other option you can do is change what your chart looks like. So if you click on this little paintbrush here, you can scroll through and make your chart look different. This one looks kind of different. So kind of scroll through and see the different options of your chart. I kind of like this one, so I'm going to pick this one. I think that one looks pretty cool. Okay, so there, I have finished slide 2. I filled out my chart up here and then I graphed my scores. Okay, so once you have that done, you're ready to move on to slide number 3. Okay, so at this time you may want to pause the video and go finish your slide 2 and then come back to slide 3. We may not get to this slide until tomorrow, and that's okay. So for slide 3, all you really need to do is on the left side here, copy and paste your best CER paragraph. Which paragraph did you get the highest score on? For most of us, that'll probably be the landlady paragraph, but for some of us, that'll be the theme paragraph, the one about Gonzalo or Salvador. So what you need to do is you need to go back to your Word documents and find your best CER paragraph from this class. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to just go to my Word documents and I'm going to find my Finding Nemo paragraph, which is right here. And I'm going to use this paragraph as my example because it's the best one. So there are 2 ways that you can upload this paragraph into the PowerPoint. The first option is to simply copy and paste the paragraph. So you do that by clicking Control A, and if you'll notice, Control A highlights the entire paper. So I clicked Control A, and now I'm going to click Control C. The C stands for copy, Control C. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go back to my SLC PowerPoint. And where it says your best paragraph, I'm going to erase all of this. And then I am going to click Control V, as in Victor. Control V, that's paste. And you'll notice that it makes it super teeny tiny so that the whole paragraph fits nicely into your box. So I do want to make this a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do that just simply by making the box bigger and highlighting the font. Maybe make it size 16. You can move things around so that you have more space. That's kind of what I like to do. So I'm going to move all this around so that I can make this bigger and I have more space. Okay. There we go. Let's see if I can make it size 16. Oh, 14. Okay. And there's my example paragraph. Now, if you're really wanting to be an overachiever, you could go through and highlight your claim for your parents in one color and then highlight your evidence in another color, and make it really fancy so you can kind of show your parents where your evidence is, where your claim is, and so on and so forth. But that's optional. You do not have to do that. The other option is, so that's one way you can put your paragraph into the slide. Now, for those of you who have a really dark background, or a really fancy background that's got a lot of colors and stuff, copying and pasting your paragraph in there might be an eyesore. So here's option 2. So for option 2, you want to take a picture of your paragraph. So one way you can do that is by going down to the Windows menu and typing in snipping tool. And you'll see that that comes up right away. So you're going to click on this app here, snipping tool. And you'll get a box that looks like this. You'll want to move it off to the side here so that it's not in the way of your picture. And you'll click new, and your screen will get a bit foggy, and you're just going to simply drag this over your paragraph, and it'll take a picture of it basically. And then you'll go up to File and click Save As, and it'll save it to your pictures over here. So you can just call it, you know, your SLC paragraph picture, and click Save. Okay, and it'll go to your pictures. All right. So once you've taken a picture of your paper, you can go back to your slide here, and you can just go here into the box and click Pictures. There's a little option here that says Pictures, and you click on that and it will take you to your pictures, and you can just click on your paragraph that you just did and click Insert, and it will insert a picture of your paragraph. So this option is really nice for people who have a really colorful background, or a background that's really vibrant or has a lot going on. This option's a little bit nicer for that. Okay. And then over here on the right, you simply need to explain to your parents what you did well on this paragraph and what you need to improve. So you could just say, on this paragraph, I did a good job with my claim because I included the tag, and I had a complete sentence, and I answered the question, but I still think I need to work more on my reasoning. I'm very good at explaining my quote, but I'm really not so good at connecting it back to my claim. So you kind of want to go into detail here about what you did a good job with and what you need to work on. And you might even simply be able to copy your written response on the back of your worksheet for that part. Okay, so overall, I'm finished with my 3 slides. I can go up to File and make sure I click Save and save my work, and then I have completed what I've needed to do for the student-led conferences. So